Today I'm going to show you how to make tacos two different ways. Mexican street food tacos versus Tex Mex tacos. Hi, I'm Sune and I'm a food geek. Today I'm going to show you tacos two very different ways. I'm going to be making Mexican street food tacos and Tex Mex tacos. So tacos are in its roots a traditional Mexican dish. It's a small hand-sized corn or wheat tortilla topped with a filling. The fillings can be beef, chicken, seafood, pork, vegetables, beans, and cheese, which means that this dish can be made in a crazy amount of different ways and suit whatever your dietary needs or preferences. It's often served with a host of different condiments like salsa, guacamole, sour cream, and various vegetables and chilies. Tacos are a form of Mexican street food called antojitos, which means snacks or little cravings. This kind of Mexican street food tacos that I'll be making today are called carne asada, which relies heavily on grilled marinated beef. Traditionally, beef wasn't a common ingredient in Mexican cuisine, but it has been common for the most of the 20th century. Look forward to this recipe. If you're new to this channel, I bake a lot of sourdough bread and I make delicious food from all over the world. If you want to see more of this content, please join me by subscribing and ringing the bell so you won't miss any future videos. Alright, so what's Tex-Mex all about? Well, Spanish settlers had settled in both what's now northern Mexico and what today is called Texas. Texas was a territory of much contention and was both in Spanish and French hands and later part of the Republic of Mexico, which declared independence from the Spanish in 1835. Only a year later, the Republic of Texas declared independence from Mexico and applied to become a U.S. state, but was rejected. Finally, it was admitted as a U.S. state in 1845 and has been part of the U.S. ever since. Alright, what that really means is that Texas has strong roots in Spanish culture, which also means the cuisine. And as with everything else, it's influenced by what's around it. So how does Tex-Mex food differ from its Mexican roots? Well, it uses a subset of what's used in Mexican cuisine. Its heavy use of cheese, beans, meats, most often beef or chicken, peppers, and spices sets it apart. The tortilla used are mainly made using wheat flour instead of corn, so my Tex-Mex tacos will be made using ground beef and lots of spices. The toppings are shredded cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, and a homemade salsa. It's delicious. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider becoming a member at Patreon. You can also buy some merch or use the links in the description for tools and ingredients. Those were the words, these are the recipes. There's a link for the recipe on my website in the description. First, I'll show you how to make the carne asada tacos. Start by marinating the steak. We're using a flank steak for this. To a medium Ziploc bag, add 80 milliliters or a third of a cup of vegetable oil, the juice of 1 lime, the juice of 1 lemon, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 4 cloves of crushed garlic, 1 finely chopped jalapeno, a handful of coriander or cilantro leaves, a teaspoon of table salt, 1/2 teaspoon of freshly ground pepper, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. I've later found out that cumin really isn't used in Mexican cuisine, so if you want to be authentic, drop it. If you like the taste of cumin, go for it. Mix it all together by massaging the bag. Then put 500 grams or 18 ounces of flank steak in the bag. Spread the marinade all over the steak and place it in the fridge. At least for 1 hour. It's better overnight, and 24 hours is the culinary Goldilocks zone. Then it's time to make the dough for the corn tacos. To a medium bowl, add 280 grams or 2 cups of masa harina. It's important that it's masa harina and not corn flour. You won't get the same results. 4 grams or 1/2 teaspoon of table salt. Mix it up so it's well distributed. Then add 350 milliliters or 1.5 cup of water. Mix it until it comes together. Add additional water until you get a consistent dough resembling brittle Play-Doh. Then let the dough rest until you're making the tacos. Once you're ready to make the tacos, heat a cast iron skillet up to high heat. While the skillet is heating, divide the dough into 40 grams, about 2 tablespoon balls. When the skillet is hot, put a ball of dough on top of a piece of parchment paper in the tortilla press. Press the ball flat with your hand. Place another piece of parchment paper on top, then close the press and squeeze. Then remove the top piece of paper, put the dough on the hot pan and lift the other paper off. Then let it cook until there's brown spots on the bottom. This can take anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes. Then flip it over, finish cooking it for another 1 to 3 minutes. Then put it inside a clean dish towel to keep it warm. Keep cooking until you've made them all. This dough should make around 15 tacos. After I'm done, I put mine in the proofer to keep them warm. Then it's time to fry the steak. Remove the steak from the bag and pat it dry. Heat your skillet to high heat. Once it's hot, add 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. When the oil shimmers, add the steak. Fry it for 4 to 6 minutes on each side. I like mine medium rare, so I go for less time, but if you like yours more done, fry longer. Put it on a cutting board underneath tinfoil to finish the steak. Let it rest for about 10 minutes. Then cut the steak into thin strips across the grain. I also like to cut it in half so that each piece is a more mouth-friendly size. Now everything's ready for the carne asada tacos. Now it's time to prepare for the Tex Mex tacos. First make the salsa. It's best if left in the fridge the night over. And this recipe will make an obscene amount of salsa, but it's so good that you're gonna want more of it. Grab your food processor with the chopping attachment. To the bowl add 500 grams or 1¼ pound of plum tomatoes. 1 400 gram 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes. 2 spring onions roughly chopped. 1/2 medium red onion in wedges. 1 good handful of cilantro or coriander leaves. The juice of 1 lime. 1 finely chopped jalapeno. 1 teaspoon of chili powder or more if you like it spicy. 1 teaspoon of sugar. 1 teaspoon of cumin. For Tex Mex, this is right. 2 cloves of crushed garlic. Then put the lid on. And pulse. Pulse. This is where my food processor broke down, so I put the bowl into the fridge and went to the store. And I got this KitchenAid food processor. I always found the other one too big anyway. So pulse, pulse, pulse. Until it has the consistency that you like. I like mine rather chunky. Season with salt and pepper to taste. Then put it in a mason jar. I love these from Weck. And put it in the fridge until you need it. Then we'll make some homemade taco seasoning. To a small bowl add 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 1½ teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1½ teaspoons of smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons of sweet paprika, 1½ teaspoons of cumin powder, 2 teaspoons of oregano, 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Mix it up. Put it away until you need it. Then it's time to make the flour tortilla dough. To a medium bowl add 330 grams or 2 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour, 4 grams or ½ a teaspoon of table salt. Mix it up so it's well distributed. Then add 50 grams or 3½ tablespoons of melted salted butter. In the cup there's 240 milliliters or 1 cup of water. We'll divide it, pour about 3/4 of the water into the flour. Mix up the dough and add water as needed to get a nice tacky but not sticky dough. Let the dough rest until you make the tacos. When you're ready to make the tacos, heat a cast iron skillet to high heat. That's 210 degrees Celsius on my control freak, about 410 degrees Fahrenheit. It measures the actual pan temperature from underneath, which makes it very accurate. While the skillet is heating, divide the dough into 40 grams or about 2 tablespoon balls. When the skillet is hot, put a ball of dough on a piece of parchment paper inside the tortilla press. Close the press and squeeze. Then remove the top piece of paper. Put the dough on the hot pan and lift the other paper off. Then let it cook until there's brown spots on the bottom. This can take anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes. Then flip it over. Finish cooking it for 1 to 3 minutes more. Then put it inside a clean dish towel. Keep cooking until you made them all. This dough should make about 15 tacos. Then it's time to prepare the meat for the Tex Mex tacos. Heat a cast iron skillet to medium-high heat. Pour about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil on the pan. When the oil's hot, add 1 small chopped red onion and 4 crushed cloves of garlic. Fry until fragrant and softened. Then add 500 grams or 1 pound of ground beef. I used 90% lean, you can also use 80% lean. Once the meat is browned, add your homemade taco seasoning. Mix really well. Then put all of the meat into a bowl. And now it's time to assemble our tacos. So while I was making this dish, I wondered to myself, how am I going to make the tacos while recording it? So I came up with this little thing with 1-inch holes that I cut out of a piece of Danish oak. It seems like something they'd have at the food truck, right? For our Tex-Mex tacos, we have shredded lettuce, diced tomatoes, shredded cheddar cheese, diced cucumbers, the prepared beef, and homemade salsa. For the carne asada tacos, we have lime wedges, coriander or cilantro leaves, and the sliced flank steak. Okay, let's assemble these. So we'll start with the meat. A bit of cucumber and some lettuce, some cheese, some diced tomatoes, and then the meat for the carne asada. A good chunk of cilantro. Oh yeah, forgot about the salsa for the Tex Mex. And then a good squeeze of lime on the other one. All right, let's try these. Amazing. Crunchy vegetables, the depth of the salsa, and the meat taste wonderful and spiced. The tortilla is nice and soft with a taste that doesn't overpower anything. Okay, let me try the other one. Oh my god, the meat is so tender and juicy. All those delicious things from the marinade are taking it to another level. And the zing of the lime cuts through the richness of the meat. The taco's really soft and somewhat sweet. It's so good. I'm gonna finish my tacos, and while I do that, you can watch these taco pictures. Wow, how can two things with the same roots be so different? Well, I guess it's all about location. In the US, you have different indigenous vegetables than you do in Mexico. Wheat is more abundant than corn, or maybe the corn is just mainly used to make soda. So that means that even the same roots, the food go in different directions. No matter what, both incarnations of this food are incredibly delicious. So take the parts that you want for this and make your own taco. It'll still be a taco. What an amazing food that defies borders, religion, race, color, or creed. It's like the Mexican version of a pizza. I hope you learned something today. See you next time.